Good. Rhonda, say your name spell for me.
It's Rhonda Breeze. It's R-H-O-N-D-A. The last name is Breeze, B-R-E-E-S.
Older or younger sister?
Younger.
And where are you from?
Las Vegas.
Okay. So explain what Randy looked like before he came here to Gamma West.
So what happened was he went to the doctor. He had a colonoscopy. He was diagnosed with cancer. Then he went to have some tests done. Then he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. They never said what kind it was, but it had metastasized to his colon and his lung. And then they told him that he had 6 months. He had about 6 months to live. He could go to hospice. They wanted him to start chemotherapy right away. And he didn't want to do chemotherapy. So we called around for a while to different hospitals. Since his insurance only allowed him to stay in the state of Utah, we called Gamma West, and then I called a bunch of different places. I called Gamma West. I talked to Beth on the phone, and Beth said, "Oh, well, let me get Dr. Hayes." And then they asked me to send over all his records, which we did. And then Dr. Hayes called me, and then he said, if you would take Randy to St. George, to Gamma West there, my partner, Dr. Richards, would look at him, and then we would decide if we could take him as a patient. And then he decided, we went to see Dr. Richards. Dr. Hayes said he would see my brother. And then what we did is, then we brought him up here for the treatments. He couldn't stay in the car very long because it was hard, so I'd always get a bigger Suburban or Explorer so he could lay down all the way. So he would lay down when he comes here. So he couldn't walk at all, and he also couldn't sit.
How sad was it to see your brother decline the way he did?
It was really sad because didn't know if he would live or he wouldn't live, didn't know if he was going to make it. So it was hard on us as a family because, you know, it's hard when you don't know if somebody's going to make it. And stage 4 was a pretty bad diagnosis.
And when you hear your brother calling, or the doctor says that your older brother has 6 months to live.
Yes, it's very hard.
What ran through your mind?
That he probably wouldn't make it. He might die.
And so what did you do? You took action?
I took action. I started calling around and tried to figure out where he could go to a hospital that would take him. We called hospitals in Texas, but his insurance wouldn't let him go there. We also called hospitals in Arizona, but a lot of those couldn't take him. We also called the university here, but they didn't get back with us until after we already had our first appointment with Dr. Richards.
By then it's like days and days are going by. That's not acceptable, right?
He was treated. They saw him within the first week of them. We went there right away, and then they were on it. And then Melinda here was very, very helpful in organizing everything and getting it all handled for us.
What does Gamma West mean to you?
It means everything to me because I would send anybody here to him, to Dr. Hayes, and I would also highly recommend them to anyone because it saved my brother's life. And he would not be here today if he didn't come here.
How much hope does this place bring?
It brings lots of hope. And I think a lot of people don't know about the Reiki therapy that he used, brachytherapy. And I also think a lot of people don't know that there's a machine that has heat in it that actually can help a lot of people.
And can you imagine if you didn't make this call?
Nope, can't imagine that. I just don't let myself go that way.
Yeah. And that might be part of the issue and the problem because more places should have this available.
I agree with you. Yes. And if they don't, then I think more doctors, if you don't understand a cancer or it's something that scares you, I think you should send a patient on to somebody else and not just give them no hope at all.
Good.
Let's do it then. Let me just get a shot of you guys.
You're obviously going to edit this a lot, right?
Yeah.
Good. Make me look better, okay?
No, you don't
Don't make my eye look crazy.
How many brothers and sisters?
I have another brother, older brother, and then we have stepsisters and half sisters, but mostly
Pretty
done.
amazed at the night and day, maybe from before coming to Gamma West, and then the way he's walking.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Plus, when we used to drive back to Vegas, well, I would drive back to Vegas and drop him off in St. George after the treatments. But I mean, it was a long drive, and he'd make you stop every 40 minutes. You had to get out of the car so he could go
Stretch.
walk. He had to walk. So most of the time, though, he was pretty drugged up. He didn't know where he was.
Yeah.
So they had numbed him from the bottom down, and then they also would give him a lot of pain medicines, so I could get pretty far before he started asking to get out of the car.
Like, one more pill.
Yeah, give him a whole bunch of drugs, please.
You
I'm
both
sure.
did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Why are you